What's up, Redox Nation? Let's finish our discussion on tuber bulking. I have a 4-stem plant and a 2-stem plant sitting here. And if you'll notice the difference in tuber load between the two different plants. This is a pretty unique, somewhat dynamic concept in tuber bulking. Understanding our stem distribution is going to give us an idea of what our actual potential is in terms of size profile at harvest time. Obviously, you can see here a 2-stem plant produces quite a few large tubers. So the law states more stems equals more tubers, which equals less size. And obviously that is represented very well here. This 4-stem plant, in overall comparison, is significantly smaller in size. However, we do have more tubers overall. And so as an indicator early in the season of potential tuber bulking, stem distribution becomes a very critical component to understand. We couple stem distribution with actual tuber load. Now all of a sudden we have a pretty dynamic understanding of what our source sink relationships are, an indicator of nutrient demand, water demand, and also how hard we need to keep the canopy healthy. As you'll remember, we discussed current canopy condition, a function of photosynthesis and respiration, keeping that plant's metabolism rolling, keeping energy high. Obviously, we see why. The more tubers we have, the more mouths we have to feed, essentially. And so if we do not have the vine growth and the vine health, the leaf health to support the number of tubers that each stem sets on, then our system is compromised or will be compromised at some point. And so as we understand tuber load, how many mouths we have to feed, we can better dial in our management strategy to accommodate what our actual potential becomes. And so to capture sunlight, make sure that plant's converting that energy into assimilates, starches, sugars, carbohydrates. Maintain a decent size profile going forward. It's very critical. But in terms of tuber number, let's talk tuber number specifically. As a representative sample of the field, a 4-stem and a 2-stem's probably not ideal. We want to know what percentage of 1s, 2s, 3s, and 4s, even 5s and 6s we have in the field. And this is going to be relative to variety. Some of you guys may want 7, 8, 9 stems that are raising some reds, some of the yellows, maybe the fingerling guys. But anyway, as far as a russet guy, a Burbank Ranger, processor guy, we want to be lower stem count, obviously, to keep our tuber count down, so as to maintain a larger tuber size profile. And so when we understand our tuber load, we know where our size potential is. Oftentimes you'll see an early set on a russet Burbank that's got 3 or 4 big, huge, blocky potatoes. That's not a monster by any means, but that's a nice size spud right there as well. Mid-season we'll get kind of a middle. And so if we took this pile and added it together, you'd see we have our bigs here, we have our middles there, and then we have some potentially undersized. And so when we look at a 10-foot dig, we've got 100 tubers in there. Say only 10% or so is over 10 ounce. We know we got to keep them moving up the scale. So to maintain an efficient tuber bulking rate, growth rate, becomes critical. So the concept's relatively simple. It comes down to understanding what you have in the field, what your stem distribution is, what your tuber load is, And then obviously, you know, what's the nutrient value of the soil? You know, are we long rotation, short rotation? You know, is our canopy fading fast, or is it holding on strong? You know, or are we implementing strategies to minimize oxidative stress? You know, are we using those tools that we have at our disposal to improve water use efficiency? You know, it comes down to potassium fertility. I've seen the last few years, the higher we keep our potassium, the better things hold on, the better tuber bulking rates we can sustain, and the more we can ask of our plant later season. So as the sunlight starts to fade, day length gets shorter, our canopy condition starts to decline. You know, obviously our ask of the plant becomes a lot less of what we can get out of it. And so maintain a healthy canopy, keep the disease and insect pressure at a minimum. You know, balance our nitrogen to potassium ratio so we don't get a lot of rank vegetative growth. Contribute more to an even proportionate growth, leaf growth to stem growth to root growth. And then understand our tuber load. With that strategy, that recipe, I think we can set ourselves up early in the season to be quite successful come harvest time. Appreciate you guys watching this. Hopefully you found a golden nugget or two in the process of what we've shared along the ride here. Anyway, love to see you guys in the future. Hope 2020 harvest treats everyone well, and here's to a brighter 2021. See you guys soon.